Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to go over my five favorite kayaks 70 pounds and under. So this is a really important list because I feel like a lot of attention in the industry has been really drawn to the heavier barge kayaks, and there's definitely a place for these kayaks. There's definitely a niche for that. I'm talking about the kayaks that really blur the lines between boat and kayak. So these are going to be, this list is going to really focus on your throw and go, simpler setups. For those of you that want something lightweight but don't want to splurge on trailers or any, bed extenders, anything like that, but you still want good quality, good value. You want all of the features of some of the bigger kayaks, but in a smaller, lightweight package. So this is definitely a list for you. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'm going to go over 2 additional kayaks, pedal drive, that are under that 70-pound threshold. So you definitely don't want to miss that. But without further ado, thanks for coming by. Let's get right into the list. So getting right into the list here, I'm going to start, and these are in no particular order. I'm not going from good to best, but the first one I'm going to talk about, and all of these I'm going to talk about, I'm going to have a little window up here that'll have the specs, just the basics. So I'm going to go over MSRP, width, I'm going to go over weight capacity, and of course the most important thing for this video is going to be the weight of the kayak. Now the weights that I got for these kayaks go off of the manufacturer's websites, so keep that in mind too. Again, some of these kayaks may weigh a little bit more, may weigh a little bit less, but all of these are going to be under that 70 pounds. So the first one I'm going to go over is the Perception Pescador Pro Series. So the Pescador Pro Series is very, very similar to the 2018 and before Wilderness Systems Tarpon 100. So the Pescador Pro comes in 2 versions, the 10-foot version and the 12-foot version. They both kind of have some different uses. They both have the exact same seat and the exact same room for the paddler, but the 12-footer is going to give you a little bit more of a longer nose and a little bit more of a longer tank well in the rear. You're going to get a little bit more storage. You're going to get a little bit more of a weight capacity. They're both going to be under that 70 pounds, and they're both going to be very reasonably priced. So I'll put the prices of both of them up here, of course, and kind of let you decide for yourself which one's in your budget, but they're very close together. And I always feel like with the 10 versus the 12-foot debate, most people that paddle the 12-footers prefer the 12-footers as far as performance goes. But if you're on like a local waterway where you're going to have some, a little bit of rapid here and there, or choppy water, a lot of people prefer the shorter ones because they feel they're a little bit more maneuverable. But again, I have taken the 12-footer out on moving water, and think of it this way, people have been floating these rivers in 16-foot long canoes for years. So 12-footer is not going to be a huge adjustment for you. But when you're looking at rooftopping it, maybe doing it solo, a lot of people do go with the 10-foot version for that reason, is they do make it a little bit easier for one person to load and unload. So keep that in mind there. So my next one is from Native. So Native actually makes a kayak that a lot of you are probably familiar with, and some of you may not be, but the Native Ultimate FX12. So this boat is probably one of my favorites because I'm a really big fan of those hybrid designs. And I'm talking about hybrids where it's kind of a canoe / kayak. And this is very maneuverable. I'm a big fan of the seat. It's got that really nice frame seat that can go high and low. And it's got a really nice foot peg in there. They're almost the shape of feet, and they are adjustable. So you can trim the seat forward and backward, which makes this kayak maneuver a lot different depending on where your weight is distributed. A lot of people around here locally use this kayak for multi-day floats, overnighters, and it comes from the factory with an anchor trolley installed. So an anchor trolley is just a cord and pulley system that's on the side of the kayak, and it allows you to change your anchor point from bow to stern from where you're sitting. You don't have to have setups in the front or the back. You can move it as you see fit. Different situations will call for different anchoring points. If you want to face into the current or you want to face down it, this allows you to do both of them. And the FX12, as a lightweight kayak, it's easy for one person to load and unload, very maneuverable, and it'll handle a lot of different kinds of water. And a lot of people just love these things. I'm one of those because, again, you're going to be able to maneuver very, very nicely in both moving water and calm flat water. They track very nicely, and you can move that seat backward and forward again, because if you got a lot of weight in the front and back, it allows you to kind of distribute that weight a lot more efficiently. So next one on the list is going to be from NuCanoe, the NuCanoe Flint. The Flint has been one of my favorite kayaks for rivers for quite some time. And the fact that this kayak is still under that 70-pound range is very, very nice. It gives you about a little bit over an 11-foot kayak. It's 11 foot 3 inches long. It's wide enough. Last year in 2024, NuCanoe did lower the seat position. Now, some people want that swivel seat. That's going to be in your U10 or your Unlimited or your Frontier models. But for this one here, having that seat position locked in place and lower gives you a better center of gravity. It's very, very stable. There's videos of guys jumping up and down on top of these on the water. Stability is obviously going to be up to the individual, as most of you do know, but this is a very capable kayak, very, very maneuverable, both in calm flat water and rivers. So it's not just a one-trick pony. You can attach a pedal drive to this or a motor on bow or stern. So keep that in mind. It does make the Flint a little bit unique compared to other kayaks on this list. At the price point and the weight, phenomenal value with the NuCanoe Flint. So the next one I'm going to go over is one of the kayaks that I believe it came out last year, and I'm talking about the Crescent Primo. So the Primo came out. It's a very, very lightweight, nice frame seat, but the price point on this one has given this one a tremendous value. This comes in at the cheapest of the list at $699. So they did a really good job of designing this kayak and keeping things simple. So for this list, lighter kayaks, throw and go, maybe even buddy boats. The Primo, you can make the argument that you can actually buy 2 of the Primos for the prices of some of the other kayaks on this list, but still keep that lightweight and high performance hull design. So Crescent, as a lot of you know, are notorious for designing very, very well, very nicely performing kayaks on the water. So these are going to be cutting through the water really quickly. They're going to turn really fast. They may not be the most stable kayaks on the water, but when you're looking at moving water, which a lot of these, it's what it's built for, it's going to give you that control. You're going to feel like you're controlling the kayak versus the kayak controlling you to an extent. Now, again, you can still take these on lakes, ponds, rivers, again, multi-water, but when one person needs to load and unload this kayak, this is one of the better ones on the list. Because of the weight, you still get a good robust weight capacity and a comfortable seat on that. Yak Attack actually makes the front handles on this kayak as well as other parts of it as well. That's another unique thing about this kayak specifically. So I really like that. They're investing in quality parts. It's a US made manufactured product that is designed by paddlers for paddlers. So the 5th kayak on this list, and again, this is one that is another favorite of mine, and it's also made by Native, which Native is, well known for heavy duty pedal drive kayaks. But the one I'm talking about here today is the Falcon 11. So this is an 11-foot kayak, still under that 70-pound threshold. You get the frame seat. It's actually the same frame seat that you get on the Ultimate FX12. So if you prefer more of a traditional sit-on-top kayak, the Falcon 11 is going to check those boxes for you. This is a very good kayak for both, again, lake and rivers. There's a theme here because these are not one-trick ponies. They're fast paddling, so you can do both things. You can cover a lot of ground on flat water or maneuver those moving water streams, chasing the smallmouth, chasing trout, all of the above like that. But the thing I like about the Falcon 11 is the lightweight. You can get the wheel on the keel. It is removable, so you can choose to put it on there. You can choose to leave it off. But if you're going down pavement, this is a really good option and an easier way for one person to bring the kayak to and from your vehicle to the water. So I do like that. That's going to do better on pavement than, say, like sand, dirt, or some rougher terrain. But this is not a heavy kayak, and I do like the fact that they use hard handles on the sides, especially if you're carrying them up above your head or on your back there. This can make things a lot easier. Or it's a rotomolded kayak, so you can simply just drag it through the dirt. These kayaks are rotomolded. They're made just like your Yeti coolers, things like that, and they can take that abuse. You don't want to be dragging it across concrete or anything, but if you need to go across a few rocks and some dirt, you are going to be able to do that with these kayaks. But the Falcon 11, the one thing I really love about it is I love the deck padding. It gives you a comfortable stand-up position, again, depending on your own stability. You got hatch storage in the front, you have open storage, tank well in the back. So you get a little bit of best of both worlds. You also get a little hatch in the middle. It's got a little drop-through scupper that you can do your transducer if you want to run like a simple fish finder. This is not going to be something for like your live scopes or anything like that. But if you want to do something simple like a little Garmin Striker, you can do that on this, and it's really, really nice because it's got a little gear track on top of the lid for that hatch. So it does kind of facilitate doing a simple setup there. So a little bit more feature rich than some of the other kayaks there, but again, the price point and the weight, great option for throw and go kayak fishing. So I told you at the beginning of the video, I had 2 bonus kayaks for you. These are going to be pedal drives. So these are for those of you that maybe still want something lightweight, but you want the pedal drive capability. You want to cover a little bit more ground. You want to hold your position. And these kayaks are going to allow you to do that. So the first one I'm going to go over might be a surprise to some of you. It's the Hobie Passport 10.5 foot. So the Hobie Passport comes with the kick-up fins. It's the Hobie ST drive, which is their standard drive. It is not the 180 drive, but if you have another Hobie that has the 180 drive, you can simply drop it in. So, but just know that it does come with the standard fins, the standard drives. The standard fins are just a little bit shorter, but this kayak is very lightweight. It's a nice simple setup, or nice simple setup on the rudder. Doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, but again, you may not be needing that. But it's also one of the cheapest quality pedal drives out there, in my opinion. And this year, it's actually $1,649 for a Hobie kayak. You get a frame seat. You get a little bit of features there. You get some gear track and things like that, but you're not going to get a whole lot more. So if you're wanting something super simple, you just want to get out and get some exercise, take a pole or two with you, this is going to be a nice way to do it and cover some ground in the meantime. The next one and the final one I'm going to go over is this is the Native Slayer LTE. So this is new for 2025. They really replaced the Propel 10 with the Propel LTE. So they're both very lightweight, but the LTE is going to give you a little bit more features. They've evolved the original Propel 10 into something a little bit more friendly for motorization, for electronics, like, again, sonars, things like that. This is going to be something where you go a little bit further with the accessorizing. Maybe you want a tournament rig, but don't want the tournament weight, trailer, things like that. Without the, the weight I'm showing up there for the LTE, again, that is without the pedal drive on it. This is just for the fitted hull. So this, because typically when you're going to be carrying these kayaks, you're going to take the seat and the drive off and carry it in pieces. If you're not wanting to do that, obviously it does create some additional weight on there, but this is still a very light kayak, and Native made this specifically for that reason. It's not a Titan X that's got all of the features and the weight capacity. This is just a little bit of I call it the Titan X light duty is basically what you're going to see here. Not going to have all the features, but maybe you don't need that. And at the price range on this kayak, it's definitely a good value for what you're getting for that price. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this maybe gave you some options. If you think the kayak industry is just forgetting about lighter weight, simpler kayaks, they're definitely still out there. They just don't get all the press, so you don't see a whole lot of stuff on them, but they're definitely out there. So I hope this video kind of shed some light on some of those models, maybe some models you knew were out there, but you just haven't thought about in several years. They're still out there. They're still making quality stuff, and they've actually, in a lot of these cases, have evolved and produce some additional features for the money that you're paying on those. A lot of these are still below that $1,100 to $1,200 and under, as you saw on the Primo, all the way down to $699, which I think is a great value no matter what you're doing with it. But what do you guys think? Did I leave some out? Some of you may have been expecting to see like the Wilderness Systems Tarpon series, which has been a staple in the kayak industry for decades. The Tarpon series is still out there, but again, the 10-foot version at $1,119, in my opinion, has kind of priced itself out of the market for these other kayaks that have a little bit more features for fishing, even though the Tarpon was originally intended to be a fishing kayak. It's one of those that I'm sure a lot of you either have had or know somebody that has had a Tarpon and just absolutely loved it. So it's definitely still a quality kayak, and it's made by Wilderness Systems. So Wilderness and Perception a lot of times will run sales and things like that. So you can find these usually at a pretty good price point or on the secondhand market since they've been making them for so long. So definitely don't forget about the Tarpon, but I just wanted to do 5 for you here today. So this one just barely got pushed out, but it's still worth noted to be a lightweight quality kayak with a very comfortable seat, and definitely worth your time to take a look at if you can find a really good deal on one. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for coming by. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on the next video, guys.